Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would know that the title of tonight's show can be a jarring one. It's called Upset, and the reason why there can be an upset somewhere in all of our lives is because the planets are very harshly squaring and opposing each other. 6 of them. 4 of them are in Aries, the sign of new beginnings, or the sign of wanting to assert yourself. And so Uranus, that planet of sudden change and genius and things that are ahead of their time, is in Aries, and it is conjunct Mercury, the planet of the mind and of thought and communication. They're in early Aries, meaning that there can be some sudden news that could be upsetting in one way or another, and it could involve somebody that wants to make a rather impulsive new start. But at the end of the sign of Aries are 2 other planets, and they're the ones that are really causing the trouble. And that is because the Sun is at 29 degrees of Aries, and Mars is also at 29 degrees of Aries, and that is the last degree in a sign. So they've run out of room, and this is somebody's last chance to assert themselves. And that can really cause an upset, because those 4 planets in Aries are being squared by an equally powerful moon in Cancer. The moon is at 28 degrees of Cancer today, exactly square that Sun and Mars at 29 degrees of Aries. On top of that, the moon is fortified and the planets in Aries are not, meaning that those 4 dynamic planets in Aries are not being trined by anything else. There's nothing in Sagittarius and there's nothing in Leo fortifying that sign. But that powerful moon in Cancer is part of a grand trine in water signs, and that means the moon in Cancer is being trined by Saturn in Scorpio and also by Neptune in Pisces. And Neptune is very powerful because it rules Pisces. So there's a lot of support among the water signs and not so much among the fire signs. And so that moon squaring all the planets in Aries is an indication that people with very passive and gentle natures may have to put their foot down. And so there could be an upset, but I think that perhaps they will be the ones that solve it in one way or another. Or it can simply be that since Pluto in Capricorn, which denotes management, is also squaring those 4 planets in Aries, particularly the Mars and the Sun, it is an indication that management can come down pretty hard on somebody who wants everything their own way. So there could be a martyr or a dictator or a wild one somewhere that can be insisting on having everything their own way. But will their demands be met? No, they will not. In fact, there could be another reason why their demands will not be met right now, and that reason could be betrayal. The betrayal could be financial, and the reason why is that Venus has now moved into Taurus and is being opposed by Saturn in Scorpio. And so that simply means the bill is due. That somebody who's been living on credit or their good looks or whatever and has been enjoying a rather lavish lifestyle is going to have to pay the bill for that now. And if they can't do that, or if taxes are too high, or as I said, the credit is stretched, or there is no more money coming in one way or another, then someone with a rather lavish lifestyle is going to have to curtail that lifestyle, and that could be an upset as well. There's also another reason why there can be an upset, and we'll all have to accept it, and that reason is simply because once somebody is told that no, they are not going to get their way, or I think it's going to be somebody whose basic philosophy of life is my way or the highway, and once somebody says, okay, take the highway, in other words, they're saying no to their demands, that person who's demanding something could get desperate. In fact, they could rebel, and they could rebel against their friends as well as their enemies, or they could rebel against an authority figure right now, or somebody, even a government or a court that is very powerful. And in their rebellion, they could actually ignite some sort of spark that could start a war. And that is why you need to be prepared for some sort of upset this week. Even if you're not causing it, you may be affected by it. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, what it means is that it's certainly you that has to be real careful what you ask for, Aries, because if you ask for too much, somebody's going to come down pretty hard and say no. And so you can be challenged by authority figures. That's Pluto in Capricorn squaring your sun. And the reason why you can be challenged is there may not be enough funding for everything that you want right now. So if you're looking for a raise, Aries, I don't think it's headed your way. On the other hand, it can also be that people with a very gentle nature who have been giving in to you or who have been able to provide things when you needed them maybe are running out of patience, or else they simply don't think that your demands warrant them making extra sacrifice right now, and so they could say no. And that could cause a lot of emotional tension among you and your friends or your family members. And so somebody can be pretty upset right now. So you want to be careful what you do ask for, Aries, because if there is a big no coming your way right now, then it might be a good idea for you to consider going off in a new direction rather than stay where you are. Because I think things are getting a little tense where you are right now, Aries. And so if you sort of branch out into something new, that could be your salvation. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, for you, it's wonderful that Venus has now come into your sun sign. After all, Venus rules your sign. And so you can be rather content. You can be pleased with your investments, or you can be rather happy with yourself and your friends. That's wonderful. Taurus. However, there are a couple little things that could upset you as well, and that is simply that, remember I said there can be a betrayal now, and it can be financial, meaning that Venus in your sign is being opposed by Saturn in Scorpio. It's not exact, but the opposition will be exact next week, and that means the bill is due. And I think if it isn't your expenses that are pretty high, it could be somebody else's, and you might have to cover for them, and that could make you a little bit unhappy, or that could create quite an upset to your finances right now, Taurus. The good news is that Pluto in Capricorn is trining your sun, and that gives you some additional backup or support that you may be able to draw on, and that could involve something that has to do with pension funds or retirement accounts. So you do have something to fall back on, but still I think that either the taxes or the bills could be a little bit high right now, and so you might have to curtail your lifestyle a little bit, Taurus. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, this is simply a time when I think you can be rather happy at knowing people who are very financially secure behind the scenes. And the reason why is because that Venus in Taurus is right behind your sun sign. And that means that if you do run into something that's a little upsetting, or you do need a little extra cash, or you simply need to make connections with people that can afford you, I think you will, Gemini, because Venus in Taurus denotes that there is someone in the background of your life who is financially secure. And they could be very interested in supporting you or helping you in some way. And you should ask them for it if you need that, Gemini. The fact that those planets in Aries are sextile your sun simply means that if there is an upset, you may benefit from that in one way or another, or that could open up an additional opportunity for you since the planets are sextile your sun. So I don't think you have too much to worry about as long as you remain calm. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, I think you're going to feel it right now. There's going to be an upset somewhere in your life. And in fact, Cancer, maybe you're the person causing the upset. And that is because perhaps you have finally run out of patience. Perhaps you have been trying to please somebody to the point where they've actually gotten a little bit spoiled. and now you feel you have to say no. So either that's going to ruffle your feathers or it's going to ruffle somebody else's. And so that's why I think there can be an upset somewhere in your life, because it's the cardinal signs that are affected by having 6 planets in them right now. The 4 planets in Aries all square your sun, Cancer. And that means somebody, a martyr, a dictator, or somebody who's just wildly rebellious right now, can be making all kinds of demands upon you, and you probably are going to feel as if enough is enough, and you may decide to say no. But what if the shoe's on the other foot and somebody now says no to you, Cancer? That may not bother you as much as you think, and that is because there is a grand trine in water signs. You do have some financial backup because Saturn in Scorpio is trining your sun, and you do know what the real truth is about something because Neptune in Pisces is also trining your sun. So I think you've got your bases covered, Cancer, and either way, whether you're causing the upset or somebody else is, I think that you're going to have to be rather firm in your beliefs. And if you do not want to confront anyone right now, then if I were you, Cancer, I'd sort of withdraw a little bit, withdraw into your shell, and just sort of ride out a turbulent time right now if you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a golden opportunity for you, and that's because, yes, I think there's going to be an upset, and I think it could be a little nasty or sticky, but you could certainly benefit from it, Leo, and that's because all 4 planets in Aries are trining your sun. And that simply means that with the Sun, Mars, Uranus, and Mercury trining your sun, that should somebody create an upset, or should they get very upset about hearing a no when they wanted to do something all their own way, and they decide to take off in a new direction, that would create a hole, Leo. And I think you should look for the hole this week, because you are going to be the right person to fill it. So there could be a sudden vacancy at work, but it could be a job that you could do really well. Or there can simply be an opportunity that you didn't think you'd ever have that suddenly opens up, and that is because of an upset. So I think that you're going to profit by an upset this week, Leo. It's too bad that it has to happen, but you didn't cause it, and instead I think you'll benefit, which is good. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is simply a time when you are going to have to be a little bit careful, because there are things going on behind the scenes that you haven't known about for a while, and that's because Mercury and Neptune have been in Pisces for a while. But Mercury is one of those planets that has now moved on and is in Aries, and it's one of the 4 that are creating a lot of tension among cardinal signs. And so there is going to be an upset somewhere, and now you are probably going to hear about it, and it can involve somebody who is suddenly deciding to change the way they do things. I don't think you'll be directly affected by that, Virgo, and that's good, because actually things can be starting to look up for you, Virgo, and the reason why is that Venus in Taurus is now trining your sun, and Pluto in Capricorn is as well. Pluto went retrograde, so it's a little bit weaker because it's going backwards, but still, those are 2 wonderful planets fortifying your own sun sign, and your ruler, Mercury, is not opposing your sun sign anymore. So I think you can be in line for a promotion or a raise or a bonus, or at the very least, I think you can be hearing about some good news concerning an investment of yours. And so I think that's why things are looking up for you. We'll all still be affected by some sort of upset right now in one way or another, but I don't think you'll be adversely affected by it at all, and it might just pass you by as things tend to get a little bit better for you now, Virgo. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, this is a time when I think you could be sorely affected by some sort of upset, and I think that you'll have to endure that, Libra. And the reason why you can be affected is because those 4 planets in Aries are all opposing your sun sign, and Pluto in Capricorn is squaring your sun sign, which means that management is not in agreement, particularly about a financial matter, so they can be a little bit upset. And the moon in Cancer today is also squaring your sun sign, which means that a home matter or a real estate matter could be causing a little bit of consternation for you. What can you do about everything, Libra? Well, first of all, I don't think this is a peaceful time in your life, but I also don't think it's your fault at all. And the reason why is that other people just have an idea about what they want to do, and they're not in a partnership mood. They're not considering your feelings at all, Libra. So you may have to go through a sort of a rough patch right now, but there sure is a way out for you, Libra, and it is that Jupiter in Gemini is trining your sun. And that's good because it means that you can just shift a little bit, or you can make some new friends pretty fast who would be very interested in your ideas. So there are other people you can join right now, Libra, and I think that's good because yes, there can be an upset, but what I think you need is, I think you need some new friends. So why don't you go ahead and try to socialize a little bit more? That doesn't take a lot of money. It just means that you have to sort of get out and find out what other people are thinking right now. And I think you'd be delighted. And also, you would be able to boost your self-esteem, because if somebody hasn't been treating you very well, maybe you feel bad about that, but new friends could treat you all right if you give them a chance. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, I think that you can be a person who's going to be a little bit cautious right now, because remember I said a betrayal occurs when Venus and Saturn are opposing or squaring each other, and that's what they're doing right now. Venus in Taurus is opposing Saturn in your sun sign, Scorpio. And so this can be a time of betrayal. The betrayal might be yours, Scorpio, and it simply can come in the form of you wanting to withhold something. And the reason why is that, first of all, if you have something for sale, or you want to negotiate on something, you may not get the price that you want right now. Even though others can afford it, you just may not get it, Scorpio, because Saturn is in your sign and it's retrograde or a little bit weaker. It's well fortified, but it's still a little bit weaker. On the other hand, you may decide that if there is an upset in the world, or there is an upset in your life, you may instead decide to conserve your resources. In other words, if we're going into a turbulent time and we don't know how it will turn out, you may decide not to go ahead and be impulsive right now, but instead withhold your resources and wait and see where they would be most needed. I think that's a very good strategy for you, Scorpio, because this is a time when somebody can attack a friend as well as an enemy because they're desperate to have their own way. Well, you know, things have to calm down after all of that is done. And when things are a little bit calmer, that's when you'll know how to dispense your resources, or you'll know a good path to take yourself. So I don't think this is a time when you are going to respond quickly to an upset, but that doesn't mean you wouldn't have the last word. It's just I don't think you're going to have the first word right now by choice. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, this is a wonderful time for you, just as it is for Leo, because those 4 planets in Aries are trining your sun, Sagittarius, and so they're going to give you a real boost one way or another. If somebody leaves or goes their own way, there could be an opening that you would be interested in, Sagittarius, and so you might take a quick trip, or you might apply very quickly for a sudden vacancy in a job, or you may just decide to make a quick move of some sort. And I think that you'd be successful at that, Sagittarius. So that's good. There still is a problem, a financial problem behind the scenes that you need to address, though, because Saturn in Scorpio is right behind your sun sign, and it is being heavily opposed by Venus in Taurus right now. So a lot of people who have been living a little bit on their credit cards instead of real money are going to be faced with the fact that the bill is due. And there may be some lingering financial matter behind the scenes that you have to address as well, Sagittarius. But that could be a good motivation for getting a new job or for trying something new as well. And I think you'll be lucky with that. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is simply a time when, yes, I think you will be affected by an upset. And the reason why is those 4 planets in Aries are all squaring your sun sign where you have Pluto. And that simply means that someone can be upset about not having the money that they think they should get, or it can simply be that you are feeling as if the budget isn't going to be able to stretch for everything, and so you could be in the mood to say no right now to somebody, particularly someone who hadn't been very productive, or else who had been rather arrogant and had wanted everything their own way. That's not a very good way to run things either. So you could be wanting to pare back on some sort of budget, and that would be just fine, Capricorn. The reason why it would be fine is because Venus is in Taurus now, and it is trining your sun. And that means you could still have a good investment opportunity somewhere else. Or it can simply be that it's going to be good to get rid of a martyr or a tyrant or a dictator. And if you do that, there can be people who are financially secure that can be very attracted to you right now. There can be some good money coming your way, Capricorn, because Venus is in Taurus. Now there might be a few strings, and maybe it wouldn't be all the money you want, but it could still be headed your way. Or you could be very popular with people who have money right now, and those are the ones that you should be saying yes to, instead of somebody who's being a dictator or a martyr right now. So I think things get better for you too, Capricorn. The moon in Cancer is opposing your sun today, which means everything is not quite right in a family matter or in a relationship or with a real estate matter. But you can just take that one step at a time, knowing that there are people around with financial backing that do want to support you, Capricorn. Lucky you. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time when you can certainly take advantage of the fact that somebody is going to rebel, or somebody's going to overplay their hand, and boy, someone else is going to come down on them right now. No matter who is demanding something right now, they are not going to get it. Demands aren't selling right now. And of course, Aquarius, you are a person who is very full of a lot of inventive ideas. And so if you hear a no somewhere, you can just turn around and ask somebody else instead for what their feedback is on ideas. And that is because Jupiter in Gemini is trining your sun. So you can, just like Libra, you can shift and make some new friends right now, which would be a very good idea, Aquarius. You need some new influences in your life, because Venus in Taurus is squaring your sun, and Saturn in Scorpio is also squaring your sun. And that simply means that somewhere in your life there is a financial problem. If it isn't yours, then it's somebody that you are associated with. And it can involve higher taxes, credit, or it can involve an inheritance or insurance proceeds, and it is sort of a sticky problem. And I don't think it's going to get solved right now. But as far as a real upset goes, I think that might even give you a chance for an additional opportunity to make a new beginning of your own, Aquarius, and you should try that because you might need the money for that. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, you could certainly see something upsetting right in front of you. And the reason why is those 4 planets in Aries are all right in front of your sun, Pisces. This may not bother you too much because, after all, the water signs have a grand trine in them right now, which means that the moon in Cancer is trining your sun where you have Neptune, and Saturn in Scorpio is also trining your sun. So you are benefiting from emotional stability and some financial stability. Even if it's not as much as you wish it was, it's somewhere in the background of your life, Pisces, and it's going to be sticking around. And in fact, you could come into an inheritance certainly by the end of the year, around November, when there is a solar eclipse in Scorpio. But for right now, you may want to sort of jump into something new, particularly if it is something where it's a chance in a lifetime and it's just coming right out of the blue very suddenly. So don't be surprised, Pisces, if somebody in your life, if you get up one morning and somebody says to you, surprise, it could happen to you, Pisces, right now. Some sort of unexpected surprise. And it could upset your life a little bit, but it would not upset your heart. It wouldn't upset your relationships. So it might have something to do with an event in the world, or some person that you know. I don't think the upset is happening to you. If you are tempted to jump right in to something where you have to act really fast, I would advise you not to do that, Pisces. And the reason why is you sort of need to stay where you are. And that is because the water signs right now, Cancer, Scorpio, and your sign, are secure in one way or another. And this is such a volatile time that you cannot risk what you already have. So don't take any kind of a chance right now, because the planets that are ahead of yours in Aries are extremely volatile. There is going to be an upset somewhere, and you can avoid it, Pisces, simply by not jumping into something really quick. So I hope you don't do that. Just stand pat and wait and see what happens after the explosion or after the surprise. And when everything is calm, that's when you can decide what to do. And besides, remember, Pisces, your best time is coming this summer. So I hope you wait for that. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. We are always able to show you our show on our website, starborninstitute.org. And on the website, you can also see the sun sign predictions for all of 2013. And you can see the predictions for 2013 month by month. So you can keep checking those as the year goes on. For right now, I think that all of us need to be prepared by staying calm in a time that is very volatile, and when someone can so overplay their hand that they are going to be somewhat crushed right now. And so a person can decide to leave in a rather surprising way. They would be leaving by choice, or they would be leaving by force, but they would be leaving. And all of us have to sort of stay where we are and remain calm if we can. All right, thanks so much. I'll see you next week right here for Starborn. Bye.